That's okay. Okay. Thank you, Madam MC, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, of course, I've got a little task here now to talk about science and how science fits into where we're going in terms of our skills, in terms of our country. So let's run through a few slides, ladies and gentlemen, if I can just get this to talk to me. We've got the first slide up. Sorry. Is there a technical person who knows how this? The top, yes. Ah, brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Sorry about that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll cover two major areas here today in terms of my discussion with all of you. The first area, of course, I'll talk a little bit about my council, where I'm from, what we do. And the second area, let's talk about skills planning for the graduate professional. And note the term graduate professional. Okay. So, sorry, I'm just running through the slides a bit too fast. The South African Council for Natural Scientific Professions is a statutory body. We're a statutory body who is accountable and responsible to the Minister of Science and Technology. And our area of concern or area of work is that we are the regulation and registration authority for the natural science professionals. So if you have studied science in any area of natural science, we are the council you come to. Now, the fact that we actually have such an authority or such a statutory body shows that from a national perspective, we have seen a need to regulate, a need to register, a need to ensure our scientific professionals out there are at a certain level. So let's move a little further. Okay, the purpose of our Act is to provide a credible registration and regulation authority for natural scientists to establish, direct, sustain, and ensure high level of professionalism, ethical behavior in the natural science professional sector. So this is our reasons for our existence. Also, to improve the standards of services rendered by the professionals, maintain integrity, enhance their status, manage liabilities, and attend to the practice of the natural science professions. Now, the point of the matter is, how do we improve standards and services for somebody who's sitting with a PhD in his or her field? What is important for all our HR practitioners out there, if you have staff who are graduated or working in one of these fields, be it agricultural science, food science, toxicology science, the person should be registered with this council. So just keep that in the back of your mind. These are the 25 areas that our Minister of Science and Technology feels needs to be regulated in terms of science in South Africa. So we have about 13,500 registered scientists, mostly on a professional level, 51 voluntary associations, and that's an important point. Scientists in South Africa tend to arrange themselves in what's called voluntary associations, like the chemical graduates form the South African Chemical Institute. And there's 51 of them already. It's aligned to us as a council that wants to be part and parcel of this professional standing. Okay. These scientists, of course, serve science, engineering, technology in South Africa in various aspects. So let's move a little further. And, of course, enabling, one of the things our council is very involved in, is ensuring we enable the sector. We need our scientists to talk to each other. And apart from skills, networking is very important. Chatting to each other, getting to know each other. We hold these sessions all over the country on a regular basis. Now, this was an interesting engagement. This was Science Forum 2018, it was end of last year. And we discussed the topic, the future of the natural science professions. And what was interesting was a full house, as you see from the photograph, in a room almost this size. And what it tells us is these are our professional scientists out there concerned about their future. Now, we are hearing terms like the fourth industrial revolution. We're hearing terms like, as our madam speaker spoke initially, they're looking at 5,000 or 5 million job losses. How do we as graduates in South Africa prepare ourselves for this future? How do we ensure a proper skills base? How do we ensure relevance in terms of our careers? Okay. And, of course, one of the things that we are doing is we talk to our scientists. The reality is this answers lay out there. It lays with the people out there in practice. It lay with the scientific professionals. It lay with the professionals in any area. So we as a council decided, okay, let's ask these scientists what do they think. And of course, that information was collated and submitted to our Minister of Science and Technology, a document which she's currently working with to see how she can address. And some of the things that come through as recommendations from this document is more funding support through targeted initiatives, support the access in specialized fields of study through bursaries, scholarships, and workplace learning. So again, what are we saying? We've got to go towards specialization. And this is what our scientists are talking to us about. Industry can play a bigger role, advisory role in terms of training and skills development. Now, what happens when we have, as Susan mentioned earlier, you have a graduate who walks out of university? Are we ready for work? Are we able to go out there and take the opportunities? How do we know what the opportunities are? Quite often you hear argument from industry. Oh, well, this graduate cannot write a report. No, the graduate can write a report. He's got a master's degree to his or her name. But he can write a report in academic sphere. He cannot write the report in how industry wants it. So how do we make these shifts? How do we address these shifts? Of course, something on student empowerment. I'm sure we all agree. We need to ensure we get out there. We need to talk to our graduates. We need to talk to our different universities. One thing our council does is go out to all the universities, wherever possible. And of course, this thing doesn't talk to me, sorry about that. And of course, science festivals at school. Let's start the conversation. Let's get our scientists excited. Let's get our students excited. So that's a little bit about SACNASP. And now, let's just go on to this slide, the scientist of the future. And what's very important, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you all will agree, you cannot out-calculate a computer. You cannot out-remember it, so to speak, and now forgive my English. You use the internet, you can find an answer on almost anything, be it on a scientific platform, be it any platform. So, we go to university, we learn our textbooks, we know how to do these things. There is a small problem here. You got a graduate at age 25. How relevant is he at age 45 or 65? Going forward, you look at human understanding. You look at learn, interpret, and think laterally. Develop and manage your unique skill set. This is some of the things that we have realized as a council, that if we have to address the gaps and the skills needed for the future, we need to talk to our people out there. Let me give you an example. If you, for example, are given a car and someone tells you it's a self-drive car, and there's an advert that goes around, and please forgive me, I can't remember which company the advert is, what can go wrong? And what is important about that experience is that would you want a self-drive car or would you want a driver-assisted vehicle? Would you still want to be in charge of that vehicle? Now we have to think about this. If companies are developing in a particular direction and the public wants something in a different direction, we are missing an opportunity. And this is what we need to do. Whether scientists or whether whatever our field is, the only way that we are able to prepare ourselves for the future is talk to the people out there, understand what they want, understand what they need, understand how we can assist them. A colleague of mine in the veterinary area mentioned to me, these days there are apps available where a farmer can enter the symptoms of his animal in terms of illness, and out comes the possible solutions and the possible medication that he can use to treat this animal. He doesn't need that veterinary professional anymore. And we've got to keep this in mind. Now, here we are. A survey was conducted by Universum Talent Search, and they said that amongst our natural scientists, the top 3 preferences in the work environment are professional training, development, leaders who can support their development, and innovation. So this is what is needed. So this is where skills development in this country needs to go. It needs to cover these areas. We need to look at these areas. We need to see how we can assist with professional training. How can we assist with development within an organization? What are the programs we need to put in place in our industries? One of the things that SACNASP is doing, as soon as I get this to talk to me again, is continuing professional development. Now, this is our mechanism of addressing this to a certain extent. We have to go out there and ensure our graduate professionals are constantly being reskilled, upskilled, ensure they are relevant to the latest fields of practice and what's going on in the fields. And we use this model. For you to be a competent professional, you need to have appropriate training at the right level, adequate work experience, well-developed communication skills, strategic and management skills, ethical behavior and aware of legislation. Of course, high attention to detail and quality of work. This is our benchmark at SACNASP in terms of what we say is required for you to be the competent professional. And this moves on. We are saying to you that in your field, irrespective of what it is, there has to be this lifetime commitment of your continued development as an individual, you as the professional, and of course working with your professional body, whichever it is, be it chemistry, be it physics, be it non-science, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that we as scientists, we as professionals in this world, we need to ensure that we are constantly aware of the changes in the environment. We need to scan the environment, know what's going on, and know what we need to know. What will a 50-year-old PhD science graduate decide to go and do a qualifications in information technology? Because he realizes he has another 15 years to go. He needs to play catch-up. These are the kind of things that we need to do. Hello. Oh, here we are. Now, we're talking about our candidates. And we're going to go from your, as Susan mentioned, from the graduate to being the professional. And some of the things that you need to do. You need to ensure technical competence in your field. You need to ensure you know your field, you focus on it, and you develop your skills accordingly. You've got the qualifications, it's not the problem, but get to know your field. But of course, remember, that is linked to a business, whether it's government, whether it's private. So the quicker you develop your business management skills, the quicker you start to accelerate your career. Legal ethical training. Now, this is also a gap that we need to remember. It's very important. We need to know what's going on. Those in the food industry, for example, will tell you the legislation around it changes on a regular basis. So, are we aware of the latest legislation? Do we know the effect that legislation is going to have on our company, on our profession, on the people and the general public out there? Again, as I say, your communication skills are critically important in this day and age. For you to ensure that you are relevant for the future, you need to be able to talk to people out there. Remember, don't let it be a situation where a computer is talking on your behalf. You talk, you take ownership. And of course, technology and IT skills. Embrace it, it's coming, it's happening. Don't be afraid of it. The quicker you embrace it, the quicker you become part of it, the better off you are in your field of practice in terms of preparing yourself for the future. And as I said, people skills. Know who you're talking to, know how you're talking to them, understand what is going on around you. Don't prepare for a self-drive car when people really want a driver-assisted vehicle. And of course, going forward in terms of the council, you talk about protection, you talk about ethical behavior, and this is very important. In terms of going forward, this is what matters at the end of the day, your ethical conduct. People need to trust you in your profession. When you decide to make a statement, there must never be a question, but hang on, was he influenced? No. Or she influenced? No. The point of the matter is your ethical behavior is critically important for yourself as a professional moving forward. It's your name that carries at the end of the day and ensures employment at the end of the day. And as I think I've covered that, let me just move forward, sorry. And of course, even our president at the last State of the Nation address mentioned this. We urge professional bodies and regulatory authorities to take action against those members who are found to have acted improperly and unethically. And that says a lot. We need to ensure our behavior is up to scratch. So, getting close to the end, why register with a professional body? What we are saying is that peer recognition of your experience and your training. Your colleagues around you respect you as having arrived in your field. Of course, you can get involved in mentoring programs. You can be the mentor or the mentee. You can, of course, and most definitely be involved in your continuous professional development where you're constantly upskilling yourself. But the important point about being part of a professional body while doing that is that you have the major advantage in that your peers are helping guide what are those developments. Networking, regulation we spoke about for a second ago, and of course, the national agenda. We have an ability or a mechanism to make a statement to the decision makers in this country. It's important that we get our message across. This is a very, very good platform for that. And we must remember, if we don't maximize on these platforms, our policymakers will not know what the people of this country are thinking. And just to pay the rent, if you wish to apply to my council and you're a natural scientist, this is our website, and you're welcome to apply. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.